Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are talking about anticipatory grief, that heavy feeling when you're grieving someone or something before the loss even happens. And if this is your first time here, welcome to my channel, and I'm so glad that you're here. This channel is all about helping women heal from silent grief, heavy emotions, and the pain that nobody sees or even talks about. I'm Portia, your grief life coach and founder of Divine Destiny Solutions, and I'm here to walk with you through healing that's honest, that's practical, and that's rooted in God's love. So I remember when my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. I didn't really say this out loud, but I felt like I was already grieving her. Because when you work in healthcare and you hear stage 4 breast cancer, just cancer in general, you kind of already think the worst. The enemy will come in and put all the negative thoughts into your mind. And I allowed that. I did. I'm just going to be honest, and I shouldn't have. But I did. It was hurtful. Every doctor's appointment, every body scan that we waited to hear good results, every hard conversation that I had to have, every quiet night where I tried to be strong, but my heart was breaking. Especially having to watch her on hospice as she was slowly leaving us. Part of me was already mourning the future that she wouldn't be a part of. The missed birthdays, the holidays, me telling her about my highs and lows of life, advice that I'd never hear again, moments I would have to face without her. Remind you, my mom was only 63 years old, healthy and vibrant before she was diagnosed. We were all in shock, honestly, because we knew that she was always on top of her health, and this really snuck up on us. So this was tough for us to have to be able to watch her change so drastically. The grief was so heavy for me to watch. Like, it was too much for me. I was flying back and forth from Texas to Mississippi at the time because I was working and I didn't have enough PTO. But then the last months of the time that she was here, my amazing director donated PTO for me to be able to spend time with her, and I was so grateful. And I'm still grateful to this day. Because if it was up to me, I would have been there the day that she was diagnosed to be there to help my family give her round-the-clock care. But your girl didn't have PTO. So that was that. And so the cancer had spread to my mom's brain, which caused her to have a stroke. And that is why she had to have the round-the-clock care. My family was amazing. They were so helpful during this time. But I really have to give my amazing sister and one of my mom's best friends, all the credit, majority of the credit. Give them their flowers, give them their love, because they were amazing. They had to stay with her around the clock, so they had to rotate the different shifts each and every day. So I know watching her each and every day, they were probably grieving early too, having to see those changes in her from day to day. Like, my mom was my best friend, and I wasn't expecting to have to see her like this so early, so soon. So yes, that grief started early for me. And so I want to pause right quick. I want to pause and tell you this. If you have ever felt like this, you are not grieving wrong. You're just grieving early. And this happens, but it's rarely talked about and rarely recognized. It's called anticipatory grief. And this is grief that we feel before a loss even happens. It can be when someone that you love is terminally ill, like in my case. If you're watching someone slowly decline mentally and physically, like maybe Alzheimer's, dementia, things like that. Another one is if you're walking through a breakup or a divorce that you didn't want to happen, or even whenever you're facing life-changing events like a health diagnosis, a move, a career ending, a career change. This type of grief can sneak in quietly and carry guilt because the person or that thing that you love isn't gone yet. But emotionally, your heart has already started preparing you for that impact. And you may feel a constant sense of dread or tightness in your chest, guilt for not even, most time people get guilt for not being present or feel like they wasn't there enough or not being able to be there enough. Confusion over why you're even crying and nothing's happened yet. I question that myself. And this is one of those things that I had to deal with, because there were days where I would go to the other room and cry after having to give my mom pain pills for comfort while she was on hospice. Just seeing her, it was just too much for me. it really hurt me to have to see her like this, because this is not what I expected or was used to seeing her as. And it was just such a drastic change how the cancer took over her body. And so it's real. And you're not crazy for this at all. It's a feeling. So let me give you 2 quick ways that this might show up in your life today. One way is you may be crying during random moments while you're driving, while you're watching a movie, doing laundry, because you're imagining what life will be like without them. Number 2, you may start to emotionally distance yourself from the person or the situation, not because you don't care, but because it feels safer not to be fully present. And this could be in a relationship or marriage. And there's another example that this grief has, and it has nothing to do with death. But whenever you're waiting for the results of maybe, for example, a cancer scan, or when you're slowly losing the ability to maybe do the things that you used to love because of maybe an illness, or you burnt out, or even people who are aging, they can't do the things that they used to do, and that really may bother them. You're grieving something that you haven't fully lost yet, but your soul already knows that things are changing. So I want to give you something, or give you one of the scriptures that helped me, that kind of reminded me of things and put things into perspective. And that was, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted, and he saves those who are crushed in spirit. And that's Psalms 34:18. God does not wait until the casket closes or the chapter ends to come near to comfort you, to be there for you. He shows up right now in the middle, in your mess, in the moment whenever your heart is holding its breath. He knows already before you say it how you feel. And even Jesus wept in anticipation. Whenever Lazarus was sick, Jesus knew resurrection was coming, but he still cried. He still felt. He was still hurting. In John 11, we see that Jesus was experiencing something that to me looked like anticipatory grief. He already knew that Lazarus had died before he had even arrived. He also knew that he would raise Lazarus back from the dead. Yet, when he stood with Mary and Martha and others that were grieving and mourning, the scripture says that he was deeply moved in spirit and troubled. And then Jesus wept. So his tears weren't because he lacked faith in the miracle ahead, but because he fully entered into the pain of what death does to the people that he loves. He knew the reality of death in a broken world and the pain that it had caused Mary and Martha. Even with his resurrection power in his hands, he did not rush past their sorrow. He stopped, he cried with them, and in that moment, it shows us that God does not dismiss our grief. He meets us right there in the middle of it. He cares about you. He knows. He hears you. He feels you. He sees you. Jesus let himself feel the ache of that moment before the miracle had came. For anyone who may have sat by a hospital bed, waited for that diagnosis, or felt the weight of what was about to happen, this moment right here, it reminds us that Jesus really and truly understands us. He knows the pain of standing in the tension between loss and hope. So, if you have been, let's say, trying to hide the grief because it hasn't happened yet, I want to free you from that today. God is not disappointed in you for feeling this way. He created your heart to respond to love. And part of loving deeply, guys, like, we grieve deeply because we have a heart. So you're not grieving wrong. You're not weak. You're not too emotional, and you are not being dramatic. You are a woman who sees what is coming, and instead of pretending, your soul is trying to tell you the truth right now. And believing that and understanding that and naming that is so courageous, and that's holy, and that is where God meets you, right there. So let this be your permission to feel what you feel without shame, without explanation. And so if this spoke to you, I want you to know that I created a free guide that will help you. It's called 35 Ways to Rebuild Your Identity, Joy, and Peace After Loss. And it's full of practical tools that you can use right now, and even in this space that you're in right now. It's some of the tools that I used during my process, and I still use some of them to this day when I have moments. So the link is listed below, and if you feel led to talk and want to talk with someone, I'm offering free rediscovery calls because I believe that no one should have to grieve alone, and I'm here for you. I really am. I mean that. So don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and share with a friend who might be grieving. This entire series is called The Grief That You Didn't Know That You Had. In the next episode, we'll be talking about ambiguous grief. You don't want to miss that. So until next time, give yourself grace and let God rebuild you. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.